So today we are going over a 7-4 build. Now, this is a build that was super popular in season 1, right? When the consent system was broken, 7-4 was just doing it all, okay? To the dribble moves, to what was available. I mean, it was impossible to not have a 7-4. Now, if you haven't been playing since season 1 and you're like, hey, should I make a 7-4 now? We're now in season 3. Now, I'm going to show you the 7-4 that I made originally that it's still a monster today. Now, is it my preferred center build? No, I have a 6'9" center build that I prefer to play with, and I'll mention that here below in the description if you want to go ahead and watch that build. But here today, we're going to build the OG 7-4, knockdown shooter, unguardable, and we'll see what it could do in the paint and how it can defend as well, and see how the speed kind of picks up for today. So to be able to go ahead and build this, I'm going to walk you through the build itself, why I built it the way that I built it. I'm going to break down the cap breakers, and then I'm also going to go in and talk about the animations and the jump shot that I have as well. And then we'll take the build over to Rex so you can see what it actually does. So the first thing that we need to be able to go ahead and do to make sure that everything is running like it should is that we need to go ahead and get this ready. So handliness, this is all personal preference. You can change it at any time. So you just want to make sure that what you do is that you're able to understand drifts. So based on your hand selection is going to determine your drift ability, meaning that if you like to drift more to the left, drift to the left. If you like to drift more to the right, drift to the right. You're like, hey, on a 7-4, why are you drifting? On a 7-4, you probably should drift and could drift, especially in the middle, because it's going to be really hard to be able to contest you. So you want to have that in your bag for sure. Okay, so once you've gone ahead and selected your handiness, the next thing you want to be able to do, jersey number, right? We're going to have that selected. I'm just going to go ahead and put it at 30. Curry's my favorite player, so I'm just going to go ahead and always keep it at that mark there. And then we start to begin the actual build. So we're going to go center. Okay, and then we're going to go 7-4. Now, you're going to see here, you're going to start thinking about, oh, I'm not going to be as fast. I'm going to lose some momentum. That's totally fine. What you want to be able to think about here is the other side of it and the firepower that you're going to be able to have and what you're going to be able to do. Because even though the contest system has shifted slightly, it's still, you still gotta jump. You still gotta go through the process and do the things that needs to be done to make it possible. So let's go ahead and take a look here so I can show you more about what we need to do. So once you have this here at 7-4, you're going to go to 730 as the weight. Okay. 730 pounds as the weight. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to do 7-4. Now, the reason why we're going to go 7-4 is you can see here is going to give us that 90 midi and that 89 3 ball to be able to give us more opportunity for what we want to do. Okay. So again, you're like, but why wouldn't you go max wingspan to go ahead and get the higher defense and higher rebounding? Okay. You can, and there's multiple ways to be able to make this build and to be able to tweak it and do the things that you want to do with it. But the most important thing that you want to be able to understand here is that think about the personnel, think about who you're playing with, think about how you're going to play, think about what you want to be able to do. Okay. And still having a defensive rebound 85 and 84, let's say, for example, with a 7-4 wingspan, still is going to give you that advantage in a sense because of the fact that you'll be able to grab for the boards, right? But again, we're going to go ahead and follow through and make this. So the first thing that we're going to do here is we're just going to go ahead and max up our physicals, okay? So again, we're not going to have massive speed. We're not going to have massive agility, which is going to be the con or like the fallback to this build in a sense. But again, I think you can navigate around that with the combination of takeovers and stuff like that to be able to do that. Showing what is going on. All right, so for the strength, we're going to go with an 80 strength. Now, again, this is probably not the most optimized center build for a 7-4. However, I just want to show you how when I make a build and I think about a build, I kind of think about it, how I'm going to utilize it, and try to think about how it's going to be utilized in the game. So that way it's almost like future-proofing the build, right? Like the build is still valid today. Could you make tweaks to it? Of course. But could you go out there with this and put up numbers? 100%, right? So we're going to put this at vertical at 73. And again, you're going to start to see a lot of the badges that we're going to be able to start getting here, like pogo and stuff like that. Okay. So now let's just go ahead and move from right to left and kind of work through the attributes as we need them, because this thing's going to be important, right? So the rebounding, we're going to go 85, and then defensive rebound, we're going to go 84. Okay, this is going to give us box out beast on gold, and then this is going to go ahead and give us a rebound chaser, right? Kyrie, what's going on, man? Got to hoop some time. So you got box out beast, you got rebound chaser, like, so we're still going to be able to go to work with this, right? Then for the block, we're going to go with a 93. Now, again, like, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm making this build. This is the season 1 version of the 7-4. And again, like, because of some of the tweaks they've made, it's kind of made some of the things that I thought were a mistake when I first made the build to actually be pretty decent and pretty good for the way the game is currently right now. So I'm going to put that at 93. Then I'm going to go 47 here on this steel. Then perimeter, we're going to go 62. That's going to give us a movable enforcer. And then for the interior defense, again, if I were to remake this, this is probably where I would go ahead and change a little bit. I don't feel like you need this much interior defense. However, we're just going to continue to make the build the way that is, because again, having it doesn't hurt and doesn't impact this build as much. But there is an opportunity where you could have gone higher on the pass here. So this is where you're able to kind of tweak that, right? Kyrie, just hit me up anytime, man. This is where you got to kind of tweak this to be able to kind of make it to your liking. I didn't go super high pass. Didn't really kind of need it. But I have used cap breakers to increase it, right? We're going to talk about cap breakers here in just a moment. So for the speed with ball, we're just going to go 44. Ball handle, we're going to go 65. And then the pass accuracy, we're going to leave it at 48. Now, we're going to use cap breakers. And again, if you want to lower the interior defense, I would lower interior defense, and then you can have room and availability to put it up to your pass if you wanted to be able to do that. Okay. And I think that's kind of the biggest thing right there, right? So next, for the 3-point, we're gonna go with a 63-point. Now, this is super important here, right? You're like, hey, how are you gonna shoot with this build? We're gonna use cap breakers to be able to change that, but if you don't go to a minimum of 60, you're not gonna be able to utilize the shooting specialization to be able to do that. Because if you didn't notice, most of the specializations require a minimum threshold of 60 on a certain attribute, right? To be able to do that. So we're going to cap break this later as we kind of go through it. Okay. Yeah. Facing Jason Tatum that was fun. You know, that was a good game. All right. So for the free throw, we're going to go 88. Okay. And again, we just want to be able to knock down the threes, right? If we're picking, if we're slipping, if we're in the paint, if we're doing standing dunks, there's a possibility that we're going to get fouled. And we want to be able to knock these down, right? So then as far as the midi goes, we're going to go with a 90, okay? Now, this is the biggest thing that you want to see here. You can stop at 89 if you want to. You just want to get set shot specialist on gold. I'm just going to go with a 90. Again, this is going to open up a lot of opportunity. So we'll see here. Yeah, there's other people in the chat as well, having conversations as well. All right, so now what we want to be able to do here is for the standing dunk, I'm going to go with a 93 standing dunk. Again, it's just like what you're going to be able to do. Like, you just want to be able to get into the paint, be able to make the moves that you need to make. And like the standing dunk is kind of cheesy, especially when you're using the stick, right? So for the driving dunk, what we're going to do is we're going to go with a 70. Okay. And again, it's just going to give us exactly what we need. Now you can come through and optimize this build however you like, right? Now you can see here that what I have here is the 88 free throw. We got the post control. We're going to bring it up to 79. Look at what it starts to do for what we want, right? Post name phenom and all the badges that we start to get as we're going through this process, right? So we got this build kind of set up. And what I want you to think about is as we're going through this process, right? I'm going to show you all the animations. I'm going to show you the jump shot. I'm going to show you the badge loadout that I got put on this. And I'm going to show you how I went ahead and did the cap breakers, so you can kind of see a little bit of like why I made this build the way that I made it, right? Now, again, we got to look at this from the perspective of like, this is a season 1 7-4 kind of build that I'm going to show you that is very valid now, season 3. Okay. So the biggest thing that we got to think about is that 2K has always been a game of height. So when you're thinking about a game on height, right, it doesn't matter how high of a perimeter you have. It doesn't matter what's going on. Like, height's always going to play a role, right? That's why, like, if you get a smaller guard, you get that I forget what the badge is called, but the mismatch, right? I forget. Mini marksman. So mini marksman, as a small guard, you get that. So you get an advantage for taller builds, right? So the same thing, like the contest system gets slower. So you're not just thinking about the height. You got to think about the wingspan, right? The release of the arc. So again, like that's going to be the first thing, right? Is that we're like, okay, hey, we know that we're going to go ahead and tower over most people, so we can take the hit a little bit more in rebounding, right? We can go ahead and kind of take a little bit more of the hit in a little bit of the defense. Why? Because we got a wider stance, we got a longer reach, right? Like you got to take these things into account because those are still game mechanics that you would utilize, right? So when we go through here, this is how I want you to think about it. We're going to cap break this. We're going to pick this up, but this build should allow us to be able to still finish on the inside, still be able to shoot, still be able to swing the ball, still be able to run the run the break starter, still be able to play defense, play the paint, grab the boards, and have a decent enough speed once we start taking into account takeover, right? All right, so this is what we got here. 7-4 is what we're doing today. Yo, the 2K, hopefully we come up on the 2K TV when we load up into the rec today. All right. So let's kind of move forward through this so you can kind of start seeing like how we ended up making it, right? So Dave Robinson, Ralph Sampson, Donovan, right? Backline, mid paint, score. Can't accurately launch the ball down the floor. That's inaccurate. You're going to see that we're going to be able to throw the breaks, okay? Opposing center parks in the paint. Again, right? Like we don't look at where it kind of puts us at, right? Set shot specialist, box out beast, aerial wizard, right? So this is going to be, what is that going to tell me? I'm going to be good on the slips. I'm going to be able to shoot the spot up, and I'm going to be able to box out and get the boards, right? Like that's kind of the biggest thing that I want right there. So I saw you on the 2K TV, and I'm like, bro, I know that. Let's go, man. Hey, things happen. It's so crazy. I'm super grateful for the opportunity. So shout out to 2K TV for that. Okay, so let's go ahead and kind of move forward through here and go through this process. All right, of showing you how I made this, how I went ahead and used the cap breakers, and the biggest reason why this build is it just does some damage here. So let me go ahead and show you here. 1 second. Hold on. All right. So let me just load this up. Okay, we're gonna take a look at this, and then I'm gonna load up into the build that I already have created on this, so you guys can kind of get a feeling of what I ended up doing, right? So you can see here it's pretty much a season 1 type of build. Yo, what's going on, y'all? What's going on? If you're just tuning in, we're making this 7-4 build here. I'm gonna show you guys why I made it the way I did. I just ended up making it, so you can kind of rewind if you want to watch a little bit of how the build is made. But right now we're gonna dive into some of the badge loadouts, the cap breakers, the jump shot, and then we're gonna go take the build out to the streets, into the rec to see what it's like. All right, so let's see here. So as far as the cap breakers go, okay, so this is where you have the availability to have a lot of flexibility on what you want to be able to do. But again, the goal of this build is to show you, hey, I can use a 7-4, still be dominant on the court. No matter what changes are happening in the game, it's still going to be viable. Now, again, I've mentioned this before, the 6'9 build that I've linked in the description of this video is the 6'9 center that I would prefer to be able to utilize. But this is still a super fun build to be able to use. So what I ended up doing, okay, is that I used 5 cap breakers to be able to get me from a 63 point to an 89 3-point. That's a massive jump. Okay, that's a massive jump for 5 cap breakers. And that's what you want to start thinking about when you're making builds, is you want to start looking at ways to break the cap breaker. Block, we just went to 97 on it to increase it and get it a little bit higher. To be able to see. And again, like if I were to do things a little bit differently now, I probably would make some adjustments to where I would most likely try to lower a little bit of the interior defense and lower some of the block as well. And then if I did that, I would probably put a little bit more into either defensive rebound, or I would just actually get a higher pass potentially to be able to do, or even get a little bit of a higher dunk as well, right? So there's like different ways that you can kind of customize this based on what you want to be able to do, right? But this is the way that I set it up. This is the way I built it. If we do once we end up getting the additional 3 cap breakers, right, we're going to go ahead and put 1 on the pass accuracy to go ahead and complete that. We'll just go ahead and put the final 1 here on the block to be able to complete that. And if we want to, we can just increase the standing dunk to be able to go from there. There's not really too much else that you're going to be able to kind of customize on this kind of setup, but where you're going to see what else really happens when we put the cap breakers and stuff on it. So here's what I want you to kind of see. So when we come to the badges here, this is the loadout that I'm running. Okay, so again, build specialization, I went with the shooting. Okay, because I got the shooting completely completed. Okay, and if you haven't completed your shooting or your build specialization and you want to kind of learn how to be able to do it a little bit faster, then on my channel, I've dropped a video showing you exactly what I did to be able to complete the shooting pretty quickly, right? It's still a grind. I'm not saying that it's simple. It's still a grind, but there's a method to it. So then once we went there, okay, our takeover, this is where this gets a little bit toxic. Okay, 7-4. Okay, 7-7-4. We have options here, right? So let me go ahead and show you here what we got. So this is the first thing you can do, right? So you can decide on, if you didn't know about how the takeover system works, right? When you get custom takeover, if you don't have custom takeover yet, again, I'll link a video in the description showing you how to get it. But the biggest thing is understanding that, like, the less attributes you put in the category to the left, the more attributes you're going to go ahead and get, right? Now, okay, typically you can get up to 15 plus 15, but we're only getting plus 10, right? Because obviously 15 is not going to take us to over 99. So you can go you can go to there. You can go ahead and then decide to go ahead and increase your block or your defensive rebound or your offensive rebound if you want to, right? I just want to be a threat as much as I can, right? So like, we don't have to go that high, but look at what happens when I add another one. I could take a 95, right? And then I can go ahead and increase my rebound if I want to do that, right? But you got to think about the takeover ability as well. That plays a role. So I'm always going to try to use a singular kind of attribute to maximize it as much as I possibly can. And again, even having an 89 3 ball is way more than enough. Like, you don't even need it. So you could go to something else on here. But for me, I'm just going to go shooting. And then you have these different badges. Okay, this is what opens up the build. So first you got sharpshooter. Okay, like, this is by far, I would say, like, for anyone who's not a PG, like, deep bomber is great. Even having a spot up is great, but the sharpshooter one boosts more of a spot up kind of shooter, right? And a spot up, like, kind of like, so like for me, I really like the sharpshooter takeover if I want to be able to go ahead and do that. But shooting is already OP on this build, right? So we don't want to kind of continue to just, like, there's a point where you, like, don't get nothing in return. Like, we already got 99 3, right? Like, there's no need for us to go 99 plus shooting badge. Okay, you could, but let's go ahead and think about the other options. We have Crasher, which improves our box out success to secure more rebounds, right? So that can help our little weakness, right? Where it's like 85, 84, we get that opens up our door to be able to get more boards, right? Again, you have that option. You want to be able to kind of maintain the right speed that you're running around the court, Hydration Hero, right? Because your stamina is going to go down a lot because we don't have a lot of it, right? So you can go Hydration. And this is going to allow you to be able to kind of stay more alert. So you got to ask yourself, what way do you want to be able to play the game, right? So for me, here's how I'm looking at this. If I'm looking at this build and I want to kind of maximize what I got of it, I'm going to go Hydration Hero, right? On this build, right? Instead of going for boosting my rebound or boosting my shooting, okay? Simply because this is the biggest weakness of the build, is the speed. Okay, and the ability to be able to move around the court. Now, you're going to see it's not going to be super crazy, but when you go from a 7'4" to a 6'9" to a 6'4" to a 6'1", you start to notice the difference in the agility and the speed and how impactful it is to be able to beat your defender. I mean, the person you're trying to defend to the spot as a center, right? It plays a role in how much you stop the paint. That's why I'd be like, oh, having 90 interiors is like the same as having 74. You just got to be able to beat the person to the spot, right? So if you got 74, you gotta be a little bit more alert and think a little bit ahead of them. You got 90, there's a little bit more room for error, but it doesn't really maximize like the drastically from the difference in 74 to 90 for you to score, right? So I'm gonna go hydration, okay? And that's kind of the route that we want to end up going. And then as far as the badge loadout, the badge loadout is going to be post-fade phenom, Deadeye, okay, rebound chaser, immovable enforcer, high fly denier, set shot specialist. This is by far the the best badge in the game for shooting. Get it as high as you can. I guarantee you changes the way you shoot the ball. Limitless range, box out beast, paint patroller, and then we got posterizer, right? So got a lot of options when it comes to like switching things up. Like there are some opportunities here, but there's nothing better than kind of what I've already kind of set up for the loadout, especially for my playstyle. Okay. But if you look at the different tiers, like tier 2, what do you get? Aerial Wizard, High Fly Denier, Off Ball Pass, Posterizer, Limitless Range, Flow Game, right? So now think about the opportunity here. You're 7'4". You can shoot deep from the hash. You're gonna be able to, like, there's just a lot you can do with this build. So we're about to see. So what I ended up doing for the elevators is Rise Up, Paint Patroller, and Aerial Wizard, as we kind of go through this actual process. So what I want to do is I want to take this guy out to the wreck so we can kind of see it in action and see, like, okay, is the build still valid, right? Can it produce and can it do what it needs to do, or is this build kind of chalked, right? Like, let's see. Season 1, this build was a monster. Season 2 is still produced. I've brought it out a few times in season 3, and it's done what it needs to do, but it needs to do what it needs to do now. So let's go ahead and come in here and see what we do. Yo, Protein, if you want to hoop, let me know. We'll get it running right now. But if not, we're going to the solo and cranking this out. Let's see here. We're gonna send one invite out. Make sure. Let's see if we pop up on the TV. I don't know. Let's see if we pop on the TV. We should be showing up on NBA 2K TV. But let's see here. We'll wait a few seconds. If not, but that was a super cool experience to be able to go ahead and try that out there. But all right, so let's see here. All right, now. All right, we're going in. Let's see what we get. Let's see what we get. Okay. All right. So it should definitely 100% put us at the center. All right. So let's see what we ended up getting here. All right. So running with us, shooting guard, 6'8", 94 dunk, 96 midi, 90, 85, 92. Okay. So pretty good, decent 6'8" build. And then who's the other guy that we got here? 6'4". So this is probably going to be our PG that we're going to be able to have. Yo, 1120, what's going on? Welcome, brother. And then let's see. Then we got Meek. Oh, let's see here. Who we got here? Yo, we got. They about to put us on the TV. They about to put us on the TV. Yo, we on that 2K TV. Yo, check it out. Yo, we on the TV, yeah. We made it, ma. Yeah. So that's a super cool. Yo, that's me watching me. All right, but anyways, we won't talk about that. But if you want to go check out that episode, go check it out. Super dope experience. As we kind of go through it, there we go, yo. Hold on, they got us on the screen. All right, we trying to get a game. But they got us in there. That's good stuff, yo. If you haven't seen it, yo, we're inside. Me watching me. we might have to back out because I don't know if it's gonna give us one person here to be able to see. I want to be able to show you guys that you can still make a 7-4 work if you choose to. But it looks like we're not getting a team, and I can't even kind of back out. But yo, in that episode, I dropped some gems. On some ways to get some VC and get your build right. So definitely check it out. Super cool. All right, so we did get somebody in. We got a full team. This is the one thing. There we go. We got a game now. All right. So now we're about to see how valid the 7-4 is. All right. And like, again, in my eyes, this build is still a monster. But we're going to see. I always say the build, it can be as great as the player using the build, right? So I may be trash using this thing. In your hands, it might be a monster. All right, so what we got here? We're going to go up against a 7'1", 96 rebound, 94 strength, 93 pass, 90 standing dunk, 93 ball. This guy's going to shoot. He has more strength, has more rebound, and has more speed. Okay, so on paper, we are at a disadvantage on paper on certain attributes. I still have 3 inches of height over him. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look what we do here. All right, let's see. Okay, that's good. So he's gonna be a shooter. You see, like, all right, come on, the game just started. That's this here we go. Okay. All right. So big thing with this build is like you gotta kind of like really be a little bit more like anticipating what's about to happen, so that when you relocate, it makes it a little bit easier. That's kind of the biggest thing when you're lacking speed, like positioning matters. See, and like also like because you don't have a lot of stamina, like running around the court is gonna kill your stamina, right? So you got to kind of know movement. There we go. Now their defense is kind of sus. All right, like if that's how the game's gonna go, I'm probably not gonna touch the ball, just because it just like, you know, everybody's playing. But I'm gonna show you what happens when like you play the right way and you know your build and what your build can do, that you start to get noticed by the team. Okay, but I'm gonna see, like, my goal here is first to let them know like, hey, I can shoot. Right? So that's kind of what I'm looking for. They missed me there. So at the end of the day, like this is gonna come down to personnel of the PG to see if he notices what needs to be noticed. Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. That's what we want. All right, hold on. All right, so he's trying to set the screens, right? So like as a 7-4, it's kind of hard to play that, but what you got to kind of do is you got to make that decision and be like, I'm just going to let that 2 happen because our center's a shooter. You know what I mean? And so like if the point guard is trying to go for the 2s, we can help a little, but I can't really leave my guy open. So this is the biggest thing with the agility is the reaction time, right? So the time that it takes, that's a good board. The time it takes from when you decide to slide and when it actually slides, right? So they keep swinging it. There you go. See that? He gotta come. My center wasn't even there, right? But you saw that. Catch and shoot. It didn't matter that guard was there. It's too much of a mismatch. Too much, right? So it automatically forces the center, who is 7'1", their tallest player, to guard me, meaning that pretty much anyone who tries to contest me is gonna have a hard time. Okay, forcing the center to play me, which is gonna open up the paint and the cuts, right? So I think I wasn't really ready for that shot right there. But see how he has to stay on me? He's having a hard time deciding, like, should I go to the paint and try to get the board or should I go to the 3? And that's going to mess him up. That's going to mess him up really big time. So when you're playing by yourself, like, you got to kind of know what you're trying to do on the court and also, like, what the other team is doing. Okay? Like, that's a big deal that I'm keeping the center out the paint. Because when you're playing solo rec, like it's cluttered, right? So he naturally wants to go help. And every time he goes to help, it's going to hurt him. Right? Now, because he's doing the same exact thing to me, I can't really be hovering in the paint because if I don't guard him, he's going to be able to open that 3. Okay? So this is going to come down to like discipline and who's willing to go ahead and play the right way. Now they're not really like being super aggressive with the scoring. Like I wish they would make decisions a little bit faster when they're coming down the court. But you know, like he got to notice that hash. Too much dribbling. Okay, so Maybe the PG wants screens. All right. Well, we're gonna get the PG screens and see if that's what he wants. Obviously, we're not communicating, so he can't tell me it is. But I feel like it's making it a little bit harder for him to get a buck. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So we just gotta adjust, right? And I think that's something too. It's like when you're playing by yourself, and especially you're playing solo rec, like you want to be able to kind of adjust and realize see, that's me. I left him, but he missed. Now he has to make that, right? I got to just be really careful with my routes. And because you got to manage stamina, which is kind of wild because you really do. Oh, I got the ball. Hold on. See them? I don't even know what free throw I got on this guy. That's terrible. Okay. Come on. Oh yeah, let me get this. Let me hit some strings here. Let me hit some strings. Okay. 80 strength. I missed it now. We're gonna be able to hit those bodies. That's my board. I missed that. All right. But there was no contest there. I don't think I have the contest window up so you guys can see it, but all we need to get is, let's see. So far, like I've kind of shown you a little bit of how to compensate for the speed, right? Which is like anticipation. You got to kind of know a little bit of where they're going before they're going. Stay ready to shoot. And if you're comfortable like using no dip to be able to shoot, it takes this build to a whole nother level. Okay. Because then it's almost like your PG just has to see you and dot you. And you just got to be ready to shoot. You know, so it's like, all right, I'm gonna give you some screens, brother. There we go. Open up some stuff. It's a slow paced game. I really wish this game was a little bit higher, but hopefully with me sending him some screens now, it's gonna open up for him. Okay. Okay. It's a great pass. Look in the middle. Still got it. You know what I mean? And it's solo rec, so, but. So you can see it. When you got two centers that are just like primary, like trying to shoot, it's super important to run this route right. There you go. Great pass. That's a great pass. It's a great pass. That's another thing too. Like how often is it hard to see like people in solo rec run the right routes when you're going on the fast break? Okay. Where we at? They might start quitting. We score right here. They might quit. All right. This is getting out of hand now. See, he want to just pick and pop. So now this is great. This is great. I'm able to throw that outlet. Look at that. 66 pass, right? Now that could have been stolen 100%. It could have been stolen, but 66 pass. We still got it there. We got the board. There you go. They're out of there. And if it was my guy that quit, okay, the 3. So that's where you got to know when to step up and when not to step up, right? Especially when the speed is disadvantaged. Now, that's a good shot. It's kind of too far back. But that's your disadvantage, right? Like you miss gamble, you miss time going up or going down, you know, like it's cash. See that the reaction time is not there, right? Like play on a 6'9", play on a 6'8", play on a 6'11", right? Your ability to be able to hedge is so much more effective. So much more effective. Hey, that's all day. Now, he didn't have to go up with that. He could have stopped and dished it out. But sometimes when you commit to a shot, you commit to a shot. So let's see if he stays down. That was a dot that I would have cashed out 100%. 100%. Okay. Hold on. I keep going low when I just need to stay high, right? Because I'm not compensating for like how long it's gonna take me to react to come back. All right. So you got to swing that one more time. I'm gonna swing it right back. You got to shoot that, and he got to shoot that. You got to shoot that, brother. All right, dot me. He too little. See what I'm saying? He put his hands up. He tried to jump. It doesn't matter. If it's not the center, steal, right? Because we got steal, right? We got a 47 steal. So you got to think about his positioning. If the PG's looking, there you go, right? 47 steal, we got that. It's positioning. So just remember that. Like when you have lower attribute ratings, like you just got to work a little bit harder for like whatever animation you're trying to get. You know what I mean? So boom, there it is. 66 pass. It got there. Didn't stumble, didn't wobble, right? You just got to know when to, like, what's the limitation of the ability you have? All right. And if you guys enjoying the content, man, if you want to support the channel, it's completely free. Definitely consider subscribing. I really appreciate it. All right, here we go. So this is getting out of... Nah, you shouldn't be. All right, there we go. All right, so we're out. Okay, run the right route. He got to guard it. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about it. He's not right in front of me. He's running at an angle. He's not contesting that. I also got 3 inches of just pure height over him. That's not taking into account my wingspan. Right? So, yeah, we haven't been able to get a lot of rebounds because we haven't been able to get a lot into the paint because the other center's playing on the 3 line a lot. But we're definitely impacting the game. All right? 3 is more than 2. Set you the screen. There it is. No center in the paint. Keep swinging that. Keep moving it. Got a baby. Oh, that's a good steal. That's a good steal. But if that pass would have got through, oh my goodness. Heat check. Green. Irish. It would just have been beautiful. It would have been a good one. All right. So also hit that like button, y'all. All right, let's see here. So, and let me know if you got a favorite build, comment it below. Definitely interested in always seeing what builds are being used out there. So let's look at what we got here. So I'm 12. He got 9. We're shooting 4 for 5. But all right, here we go. Okay. Wait a second. I got this heat check, yo. This heat check go crazy. I'm not gonna go crazy and abuse it, but like literally I'm open every time. I'm not calling for it. I'm not the type of person to be calling for the ball like that, but like it definitely makes it more challenging. Oh, because they also like again, you know, you're playing solo rec, so they're not really going to be super organized on the other side. Like, there's ways to definitely expose, like, the fact of having a 7-4. Like, you have to just go man. It's the only way you can, if you got another team that knows how to kind of, like, take advantage of the fact that you're not going to be able to rotate as fast. And then positioning, right? So, one of the things that, if you're, like, running to the hash to shoot, right, and you got a PG coming through, to be able to go ahead and pass you the ball, like you want to make sure that you're like holding L2 as you're coming down the court, so yeah, your feet stay planted. Crafty walking bucket 6'11". Woo, like that. Versatile. It's a dirty build. Come on, I'm open. I'm butt. So good. It's so good. This is a lot of commotion going on. We're gonna leave it at that. A lot of commotion going on. That's a free buck. All right. I got a 6'11" that I like as well. 6'9" center is my favorite. 7'4" get the job done. Like, yo, like that's crazy. I'm open at the top, brother. Green. My center is the center that's guarding me is just completely giving up unless it's an AI. It's a real person. Oh, he quit. No, he hasn't quit yet. We're about to double that. Yo, we only got a 62 perimeter. We out here causing the double team. Let's see here. See what this 80 vert look like. Come on. Oh, my guy quit. That's it. GG. Oh, power forward. Nice. Yeah. He knows to play back in with that. Oh, come on. Hold on. We might got something cooking here. Yo, this game got out of hand pretty quick. My guy quit. They quit. Like that second quarter, it was over. 32-15. Like it was done. They ain't know what up. Like now I got the AI. You don't even got to set me a screen. This is just cash if you pass it. Hey, like now that is one thing that I think that it would be like a good addition is that like AI defense was just like the most overpowered thing ever. Right? Like I just wish that anytime that an AI is on the court, they are like unstoppable. They score every open three. They cross you up. They break your ankles. They dotting. They calling plays. They shooing. Like, you need to do that, yo, because like the minute you get an AI in any game mode, like it's over. It's over. Like you don't even got to play 2K to be able to cheese the bot. You can just sit there, flick the stick on the right stick down and up, and just say cha-ching as you're saying it, and it's money. It's money all day. So like that aspect of it would have been a good aspect for the defense. I think it's always something like super hard to gauge, but that would have been good. All right. I got a bot on me. Hey, yo. Nah, you know, we winning. We're not gonna get upset here. We'll let them do the thing, man. And if anybody here is hoops, you don't got really a squad, you play by yourself, solo rag, theater, whatever. Make sure you tap into the Discord so we can link up and hoop, especially if you're looking for people to play on PlayStation or Xbox. All right, here we go. Come on now. I mean, it's like one of those things where it's like it's kind of hard to kind of show you like the true potential of a build in one game, simply because it's like it's all based on like what that block coming in handy. It's all about the other team and the people you're playing with as well, especially when you're in solo. But yeah, this game got out of hand second quarter. I'm surprised they waited this long to quit. But I mean, you guys saw, like, it doesn't matter. Like, a 7-4 is going to shoot over people even now. Even this year, right? We're running up and down the court. Like, I mean, our speed's not super crazy, but you're still able to move around the court. He made that? Ooh, okay. Take off then. Look at that, 66 pass on the money. Getting assist off the inbounds. Let me get that. I'm about to steal this. Yo! All right. That definitely should have been a steal right there for sure. All right. Okay. How many bots they got on the other team already? So the 1 and the 2 is left? Okay. He made that. Yeah, I just want to shoot one on the bot, yo. I just want to shoot one on the bot. I think that, like, again, I would still utilize this 7-4 build. Hey, Greening, it's too late now. There's nothing they can do to make it possible. I'm right here. Okay. He wasn't shooting that confidently when he had a real player on him. I mean, I know it's still a real player, but like I think he thinks it's an AI. So like, you see me leaving the AI wide open like that? Like, it's for the AI to grab that board, go back up, score that. Okay. Peep. Oh, that's a shot. What we doing out here? What we doing out here, Fisher? Green. Irish. Some good stuff. I mean, listen, I just got lucky that I got some decent players on the team that made this game pretty easy. It doesn't always plan out this way. I mean, we haven't lost a game yet. After making a build and taking it out there, we haven't lost a game yet. We've only done 3, but we haven't lost one yet. Okay, here we go. Yo, 2K fan, what's going on, man? What's going on, brother? All right. Yeah, like there should be, what game is that lets you forfeit if you're getting like demolished? Is it Rainbow Six? Like 2K should do that. Or is it Marvel Rivals 2, where everybody can say, I forfeit without a penalty, I guess? Because once you get 3 AIs, like, yeah, I mean, if you got 2 people on the team that's cold-blooded and like can make it happen. But when you got 5 people on the other team just still hitting, it's hard. So if you could just like be like, yo, forfeit, it's like playing my career and saying like, yo, I wanna quit at halftime with my VC. Yeah, I want to quit at halftime and get whatever I accumulated as progression from now until then. Because now this ain't fun. Throw the hoop. Come on, throw the hoop, man. All right, let's see. Ain't nothing worse than like having AIs on your team and then the other team is just literally doubling you. Okay? Like, there's nothing worse than that. I mean, it's 92. Look at that. Look at that 97 block. 97 block, no fouls, right? Because the rating is so high, the refs don't see it as a foul, even though I'm hacking like crazy. So you just gotta know how to pay the refs through attributes to be able to understand like how to make it to where like you don't get those bogus calls. There's attribute ratings, thresholds that you got to focus on. All right, let's see. I've been having heat check for like 9 quarters. And he gonna pass it to me and then I'm gonna miss. Let me see. That's typically how it works. I'm open, brother. I'm open, brother. Oh, green bean, the money machine. Yeah, we hit. I mean, like I said, being on the 7-4 is fun. It's fun because you really can catch and shoot. Actually, you can just like no dip, catch and shoot. And people gonna think you plugged up. Oh, come on. Green. Now I got this hydration. Let's go. I mean, like I said, in a typical scenario, like I think this is, like I said, it's still a valid build to be able to utilize. Like if I had to make a pick between like going the 7-4 or going like a 6-9, I'm probably still going to lean to the 6-9, mainly just because of speed. Mainly. Even though height is powerful. All right. Oh, he made that. There's just something about being able to get the speed. Like you'd be like, yo, I'm 7'4", I got 99 interior. Wow, I'm not stopping nothing in the paint. Well, that's because, bro, by the time he's doing his meter dunk, you're just getting into the paint. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like positioning and speed matters 100%. It's why, like, if you know how to play defense, you don't probably need a high perimeter But if you know how to slide your feet and anticipate the moves, you're going to be able to make it stop. I'm right here, brother. I don't see nobody in front of me. I'm right here. Right here, yeah. Right here. There's nobody here. Wow, great shot, brother. Great shot. But that was a good dub. We ended up not really being able to show too much of the build. I mean, like we got 15-2, 3-2, 1, 5 for 6. So like we did shoot in the beginning before everyone started to quit. But again, like it's one of those things where it's like you're running with some people, or you just want to be able to kind of like, oh, we just got error coding. You want to be able to have fun, then it's just like you can go this route, right? I think that's super cool. Like, this is my biggest accomplishment this year on 2K. Yo, to be in the game right there is wild. Anyways, this is not what this is about. But so let me show you the last version of this year, so you can kind of just see again everything that we just ended up doing to be able to go ahead and make sure that we were able to do what we needed to do. So here's what I want you to kind of see what we got, right? So 95 standing dunk, you didn't really get to see it. It's really OP. Okay, I got a 6'7" that has like a little bit of a blend of like a high 90 driving dunk and a high 90 standing dunk. And it just like the green, it's like it almost like the game doesn't register like the difference between a driving dunk and a standing dunk, and it just gives you the most outrageous types of animations in the paint and bodies. And I'm going to show you guys that build next, but it's just like a great type of build to be able to have. The 66 pass that we just ended up using, okay, like I do prefer a higher pass. Okay, there were previous 2Ks where having a high pass was almost like it's almost like putting free throw on a build and you never play a game mode that makes you shoot free throws. That's how useless pass was last year, right? Like as far as like effectiveness. This year, I have noticed the difference between a higher pass and a lower pass, but, and this is kind of the reason why this 7-4, when I made it in season 1, I was coming in with that mindset of like, oh, well, you know, like the passing doesn't really play too much of a role, so let me maximize elsewhere. But having it a little bit higher does give you the ability to be able to throw those kind of passes a little bit. Once you have people on the other team that have IQ, you got to be really selective, and you got to be able to grab that ball. Either your PG got to stay down, or you got to be able to like bring the ball up. Okay, like it's not really like you launching it like that. So again, my biggest thing is always thinking about making the build for what you want to do, and then thinking about the game mode you're going to play, and also the people that you're going to play with when you're on the court, right? Because that also plays a role in how you make the builds. The more cap breakers you get, the more opportunities you have to be able to make the build more OP. But like, if I were to say like a general rule of thumb when making your build, if I were to say like, hey, regardless if you're playing the 1 through the 5, doesn't matter, right? Like, what are some of the main things that you should try to focus on to not be at a disadvantage? So it doesn't need to be the highest attribute, but it should be an attribute that you don't neglect, right? So for example, physicals, super important. Like I think a lot of people don't realize the importance of speed and agility to a certain extent. Okay. I feel 77 agility is the point of like anything above that is like cool to have. It's not a necessity. But I feel like 77 is where like you're at a good spot, right? So figuring out what are those thresholds for each individual attribute is like your first thing that you want to focus on. And then after you understand exactly what those are, then you start asking yourself, what part of the build do I want to break with cap breakers? And then when I say break with cap breakers, what I mean by that is simply saying like understanding to do what we just did right here, right? Which is literally to go ahead and take our 3-point from 60 all the way to 89 with 5 cap breakers, right? So when you think about that, like literally 5 cap breakers ended up giving us what, 8 plus 7 plus 6 plus 5 plus 3. That's 29 cap breakers, but it only cost us 5. So when you start to look at opportunities like that in your build, it opens up a lot. It changes what you're able to be able to get, right? So you got to kind of like not just make the build like you've always made a build, but you got to look at the cap breakers and realize, like, if I were to come back in here and make a 7-4 again, and I would modify this to a certain extent, like, and change it, then I would 100% make some modifications here. And some of the things that I would probably change and make different as you're looking at this is, one, like, I'm still going to probably leave the rebounding and the defensive rebound a little bit lower, right? I probably would be okay with probably going down from a 7-4 to a 7-foot, right? Because then it opens up a little bit. It opens up a little bit more. And if you want to get even, like, if you want to get toxic, right, then you start to unlock, you know, Deep Bomber and all these others. Like, it just starts to open up. And like I said, when I'm thinking about making a shooting build, I'm always going to think about a build that's going to be as high as it possibly, tall as it can be, to get the highest amount of shooting or the highest attributes that I want to be able to do. Okay. My favorite build to date, as of this season, is going to be a 6-4, hands down. Okay. Hands down is probably my favorite build if I'm talking about, like, especially for point guard. And then I'm talking about, like, if we're talking about like a shooting guard, like if we're talking about like a 2 guard for shooting, like, it's going to be either a 6'7" or a 6'9", and you could also incorporate a 6'8". But if I had to pick one between those, it's probably going to be a 6'7". Okay. For me, if I were to play like a shooting guard like that, I think 6'7" is a sweet spot for that type of build, for what you would actually do with it. And then if I were to play on the 3 or the 4 or the 5, then I would go anywhere between 6'9" and maybe 7 foot, somewhere around there, right? For all those heights, right? I wouldn't mind having a 7-footer at the 3, at the 4, and at the 5. Like, if we were to go like, like 7, like 6, like, literally, you would want to have a tall height lineup. So like, you would probably want to go like 6'4" would probably be really good, especially to be able to get the things and still have the height. All right. But if you wanted to just be like, we're just going to be these monsters on the court, then you can simply go ahead and, like, PG starts at like 6'8", 6'9" type of thing. Right. And then like your two guard is like 6'10", right? 6'10", somewhere around there. And then like your 3 guard is like, you know, like a 7, like it could be 6'11". Even your 2 guard could be 6'9", right? And then like your 3 guard could be 6'11", and then your 4 and your 5 could be 7-footers, right? And then you make the builds around that personnel, like, you know, to try to focus on the most important things. That helps you shrink the court and create space and speed, and like that would be a problem. That would be a problem to guard, because they, like, yeah, you might not have the same speed as most, but like the ground you're gonna be able to cover, the space you're gonna be able to cover, the ability to be able to switch, the pressure you're gonna put on defense, because pretty much there's gonna be multiple mismatches opportunities. I think like having a lineup that's taller. Makes the game fun. But like, if you are going to be playing organized and focused, then it might be a little bit different. But okay, like this here is, like, again, a valid 7-4 build. You can go ahead and utilize. You can use to do so much. Okay, and you can tweak it to how you like. Okay. Now, in this video, I showed you how to be able to make a 7-4. That's a beast. Right, in my eyes. But if you're looking to know how to build like a really solid center, and you're not really worried about like, hey, I don't really want to be a 6'9" center, and you're kind of open-minded to that kind of build, a smaller center build like Draymond Green, then I encourage you to go ahead and watch this video right here that's on the screen, where I show you how to make the exact 6'9" center build that is by far my favorite, that can play any single game mode. Click that video right there. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.